everybody. My name is Dorota Ulkowska. For those of you who want their mind messed, my name is Dorota Katarzyna Ulkowska, and I am the sales manager for Shing Digital. And with me is Jim, and I don't even try to pronounce his last name
come on,
because
after that, Dorota.
It's a challenge. Come on.
Papachristos. It's Greek and it's a little bit longer. I've lost track of how many letters I guess the count is. So my full name is Dimitri Papachristos. My parents titled me as Jim Papachristos. Hi, everyone.
Okay, wonderful. So you have two people with difficult pronunciations of names. We are talking about disaster recovery and business continuity today. This is number 7 of a 10 episode series of cybersecurity. And well, this is again, a huge topic. So I have certain questions, but what I'm going to be welcoming all of you to do is please ask your questions either in the chat or the Q&A. We don't care where you ask it, just ask. And I will make sure that Jim will know about them. Please know that this session is recorded because we will be posting this on our website and on social media. So let's just get going. How about that? So the first question that I have for you, Jim, is what is business continuity? And it's a very big topic, very big umbrella. But if we're going to be talking about it, let's maybe define it.
Wow, you're giving me a loaded question there. Business continuity.
This is what I do.
All right, that's perfect. Excellent, Dorota. Look, if I was a small business owner and I know nothing about technology, for me, business continuity means 2 things. Making sure that my business is running from an operational standpoint, and part 2 to that, I guess, is from a technology standpoint, right? So working at Datto here for quite a few years and really learning more about the services, products, and solutions as an MSP. I came from that MSP world, so I was in your shoes. For me, business continuity is making sure that the right products and solutions are in place from a technology perspective within a SMB environment to make sure that me as a SMB, if I come in, I turn on the light switch, everything's working. Now, when something does go down, for me, continuity is, all right, how fast can my outsourced IT provider get me back up and running quickly, right? Because downtime for me equals loss of revenue and money and just overall poor experience. And this is what Datto does. We provide you with a lot of continuity solutions to help mitigate the cost of downtime and provide an excellent experience from a technology perspective to make sure that your business is running in operational quick time.
Okay. So just a lot of organizations that we speak with, there are these 2 buckets. Those organizations who have a business continuity plan or a recovery plan, and those that don't, but they think they do in their heads, right? Until something happens and they panic. So that's a whole different topic. Question number 2. Disaster recovery. When we think of disaster recovery, we think of backups. Can you describe different types of backups and how they impact business continuity?
You asked a question of what's backing up your data to 5 individuals. I give you 5 different answers and all right. But look, at the end of the day, we're past the days of just, maybe backing up our data, which, as end users, we might not realize how important it is. It does really crush you when you lose a copy of that data or, anything that's supporting your line of business applications. But at the end of the day, I need to ensure that, when I take a look at my disaster recovery plan, right? What does it look like? How is my data being backed up? Is there kind of a 3-2-1 rule, right? Do I have 3 copies of it? Is it off-site somewhere? In the event that there is any type of a disaster, can I recover this data? And is that data even recoverable to begin with? So look, different types of backup. Well, you got your server infrastructure. We're backing up the server infrastructure, and Datto does a great job of that. Really keep it simple and kind of sweet to really the core of DR. Right. And this comes back to continuity and data security, et cetera. We ensure that when there is any type of event that the data is recoverable it's sitting off-site. We give you different ways of virtualizing because we do offer an appliance. Think about a server, really put in the core infrastructure at the end user level, whether it's server room or otherwise. But we have the ability to really provide you both managed service provider and an end user with flexibility, right? What are we covering? Are we looking to recover a full image of a server because the server blew? Are we looking to provide continuity with that? Yes, we can. We can actually continue to operate your environment on our hybrid appliance, and it's seamless, right? As an end user, you don't know whether you're connected to the network to the actual server or a Datto appliance that's providing that continuity. So different ways of looking at it, right? Again, it's backing up core infrastructure, having that virtualization or copy of the data offsite, in a private cloud environment. Then there's email, and that's another solution. Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, they do a great job of providing the actual infrastructure and hosting the service. But what they don't guarantee, what they're not, is a backup service. And a lot of business owners don't realize this. They think that with Microsoft, I pay for Microsoft 365, everything's great. But their SLA actually advises both partner or direct businesses that you need to provide a third-party continuity solutions because they're not going to cover you for any, emails or items in SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive that are lost because you had maybe a staff member who's being let go and decides to go on a deletion spree and wipes out everything, or there's a hack, an email gets wiped out past the certain threshold policies that Microsoft has in place, and they're pretty short. Or if this something that happened to the actual infrastructure, knock on wood, where they lose some data, they don't guarantee that. Their SLA says, Dorota, Shing Digital, go find a third party viable backup solution that can recover in these types of downtime or disaster case scenarios. So.
And this is a big topic. Just so
Huge.
you know, we have so many questions. So I hate to ask my own question, but I'm asking the question, so I'm going to do it. So I have heard clients say, well, why would I have Microsoft backups? Because if I delete something, it's still in there like 6 months from now, I can still find it. So why would I have a backup for, my Office or Microsoft 365? And to your point, there are a lot of other things that can happen to mess with that, right? Whether it's somebody by accident deleting those or your infrastructure going down, as you said. But what other scenarios? So my question is, what other scenarios should people be aware of specifically for Microsoft 365 backups?
Oh, ransomware right off the bat, right? I mean, that's huge. We working as an MSP, my biggest challenge was trying to provide a lot of training, right? The do's and don'ts of email when we talk specific to this type of case. Doesn't matter how well you train staff, there's always going to be that one event, and they are getting really smart and look really great where, hey, look, I'm expecting a package from DHL. I know DHL is going to deliver something. Here's an email. Oh, it's from DHL. I'm going to click on it. Next thing you know, the environment gets infected and data is lost. This is where that third-party solution like a Datto SaaS protection, for instance, would come into play. Datto SaaS Defense is the ATP that goes hand in hand, really that prevents, it's a phishing and malware detection software within SaaS protection that detects this and try to prevent, and again, at the end of the day, it's mitigating as much risk as possible in an ever-changing and evolving environment that's becoming smarter and smarter. So for me, ransomware is huge. I think the pandemic has kind of opened the doors for a lot of holes and gaps in technology at the infrastructure level. It doesn't matter if you make cabinets and you're a small business owner or you're a large enterprise. 1 in 4 businesses truly have a hard time recovering from any type of attack. So that for me, Dorota, is first and foremost, right? Protect yourself.
It's always it won't happen to me, right?
And but it's a small price to pay too, right? You think about the cost of that type of service is so small compared to you're paying $90 for a cell phone service that you're not even using to its fullest gig capacity.
Sure. So we have a ton of questions. I'll get to them.
Fire away.
Okay. If I already have backups, can't I just restore from backups?
Sure, where you're restoring from backups and how you verify that those backups are even recoverable. You
So
know,
tell me more about that. Like,
so
so
it's
if,
interesting.
yeah.
It's so when we talk about Datto, see, here's the thing about continuity and the cyber resiliency we offer in our Podium product, which is our Datto Series, our business disaster recovery solution. We verify backups on the daily, and how we do this is every morning or whatever schedule is set, we run something called a screenshot verification, meaning that when we run our backup schedule, and it could be by default, it's every hour, and you can custom design this to whatever schedule you want, whether you want to run it 5 minutes or every end of 6 hours. What we do is we verify with a screenshot for the user that the data is recoverable. We've taken that backup, it's in our private cloud. Here's your proof, it's there. That's your assurance, pretty much. So in the event that, since we're talking about ransomware with email, let's talk about ransomware at the server level. In the event that this backup chain gets corrupted with any type of attack, the beauty of it is, you can roll back to the last successful backup because it's been verified. And this is key because, when we take a look at some of our competitors and their products, there's really no way of knowing that you can recover successfully the last clean snapshot or copy of your data until there's a trigger event, and then you're trying to recover it, and then you can't.
Right. So I have actually multiple questions that fall under this umbrella. So let me ask a couple for now. One
Sure.
is, I back up to a NAS. Is that good enough? And the other question is backing up to tape still a thing?
Oh no, backing up to tape is not a thing. I used to work for Dell Canada for 13 years, and this is when I first met Shing Digital. I can tell you, tape media today is kind of the old traditional way of doing backups. Yes, you put another copy of your data on a device. You can bring it home, but it's not in a secure location as whatever people might think. You really need to shift away from those traditional platforms of they were great 10 years ago, not great today. They're very expensive. They're becoming harder to kind of find. And again, it's you have any type of corruption of that tape media, then how do you recover your data, right? So,
and there's no way
as
to
again,
know if it's
there's
corrupted
no way to
until
know
you
until
use
you
it, right?
actually have to use it, right? And
To your
this
point.
is a trick. And again, with local NAS, it is what it is. It's a network attached storage device, and it's still local. Yeah, you're providing some type of, I wouldn't say high availability, but another secure type of means to back up, your server data, but it's still on premise, right? So are we offloading that? Are you loading another piece of software, which it now becomes challenging from a management perspective, right? And you have to go through all these hoops and layers to say, okay, here's my data, it's going to this device, now it's getting replicated offsite. How are we checking that, right? And this is, you really have to find solutions whereby it's simple, it's verified. When you need to do even a test recovery or restore operation,
so how about the NAS system? How does that apply to
what do you mean,
like
the
backing
local?
up to a NAS? Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough in my opinion. You're halfway there when you talk about a full DR strategy, right? Like again, you need to offload that data offsite into a private cloud or even public cloud, and it's got to be from a reputable, I guess, vendor partner. And you have to be able to test that your backups are there, and the data is recoverable at the end of the day. And it's not as that simple. You're piecemealing a lot of different solutions to achieve that single strategy, right?
So here's I didn't think of this question. With Datto being able to view the data to ensure the backup is good, how does that affect various privacy compliance requirements?
We're fully compliant. So, for me, it's the way when I facilitate a lot of end user conversations on behalf of our partners, and get our solution engineers on to really, go through the nitty gritty, I guess, of the technology. At the end of the day, Datto has over exabyte of data stored globally through more than 14,000 channel partners supporting X number of SMBs. But our data centers are within region. So you as a Canadian partner, for instance, when you have one of your clients on Datto protecting their data and providing the continuity and security, the data ends up residing in our Canadian DCs. It doesn't cross any international boundaries. It's one-way sync to a redundant location in Calgary. Primary is Toronto. And this is great because from a compliance standpoint, we're meeting those compliance standards, right? When we talk about security, these are lockdown data facilities where, major banks, which I will not name, and government agencies host their server infrastructure and rack space. And as well, when we talk about the security from that level, our support techs cannot access the end user data regardless. We can support you. We can, kind of help you along the way in any type of virtualization or disaster event to recover files, but we don't have access to it. And again, it's all SOC compliant, 2FA. And we also heavily promotes, like, look, if you need a report of our DCs, here you go. Sign the NDA. We'd be more than happy to disclose our annual audit reports.
Love
on
it.
our facilities.
Well, that's good to know.
That's very important because a lot of vendors do not do that, right? They kind of shy back. There's legal agreements.
I know.
With us, it's an open book. Here
I love
you go.
that.
Yeah, we're not trying to hide anything.
Okay, again, a lot of questions.
This is good. See, only 9 to 10 people.
I know. Good. Okay, I get ransom. This is a scenario. Good. If I get ransomware and my data is inaccessible because of encryption, can there be isolated copies of my data that would allow me to get back up and running quickly? If so, how do we know that that's not compromised as well?
This is where our secret sauce is in our technology. So we're based on the ZFS kind of development, right? We have something called inverse chain technology. So with us, it's amazing because whereas a lot of our competitor solutions, the chain of backups are dependent or rely on one another. With Datto, it does not. Every backup chain is independent from itself. We constantly run a lot of algorithms on the back end to detect for abnormalities, every minute, every hour, every day. And once we detect that, hey, there's something really funny going on with this backup, something doesn't look right, it's isolated from the remainder of the chain. So for instance, if you're using Datto, a user clicks on an email, infects the network, hits, ransomware or malware hits the server. You're protecting that with Datto. You as an MSP will get the alert from our team that something doesn't feel right here, or you'll see it within the backup chain that, this is highlighted in red, Dorota. There's something going on with this backup. You start your troubleshooting and your process there. When you confirm that there has been ransomware detected or confirmed on that backup date or part of the chain, there's no effect through the inverse chain technology. We're totally independent. You can roll back to, let's say, the previous day or the previous hours worth of backup, and our system actually shows you and highlights in the portal, hey, Dorota, here's the backup that's clean. Let's roll back to this. Now, is there some loss? Sure, but when you take a look at the alternatives, do you want to go there and have to shut down, rebuild servers, try to recover data and rebuild an entire chain because there is a dependency there? No, it's quite amazing, but that's our secret sauce, really. In a nutshell.
Love the secret sauce.
Without a technical perspective, it's every backup is independent of the rest in the chain.
Just saying, it's summer, marketing idea, secret sauce for barbecuing. It's just an idea.
Yeah, the inverse chain technology sauce.
So here is another question. We have servers in Azure and we are using their backups and the price keeps increasing. Is there a solution from Datto?
There is. We have a cloud-to-cloud solution right now that has been built on the Cirrus, which is our hybrid appliance-based model for backing up local infrastructure. It's called Datto Continuity from Microsoft Azure. It is phenomenal. Really seeing a lot of good things. And the good thing is, again, it's that shared responsibility model, very similar to SaaS protection. You want to kind of not have all your eggs in one basket in the event something does happen and things go down. So our Datto Continuity from Microsoft Azure works very similar. We protect the Azure VMs. It is a product that's continuously growing, even from a need perspective. But there's a lot of education that's still required out there. I think the adoption of Microsoft Azure for a lot of Canadian channel partners and businesses is for me is a little slower than what we see in the US. But that's because, I do think it's still new. I think email was the first step as we saw that digital transformation of the workforce and the whole work remote. And we really don't need a nice office that we pay so much money a month. But it's yeah, Datto continuity for Microsoft Azure, same platform as the series. So what I've discussed with the technology on the ransomware detection and protection, the data security, the cyber resiliency of data, the continuity, it works exactly the same way, and it's cloud to cloud based, which is perfect. And again, we're taking data, a copy of that data, not manipulating it, but we're taking a copy of that data that resides in an Azure VM, putting it in the Datto cloud under a fixed cost model. There's no egress fees. Your retention could be infinite if that's what you choose as your plan. And again, it's in a private environment. If something does happen to Microsoft's Azure environment, you can simply recover and spin up virtual machines in our private cloud for that Azure VM.
Thank you. I love this question, and I'm going to answer it. Can I buy straight from Datto? No, you've got to
No.
buy through Shing Digital. You've got to go through me. The end. No, I'm kidding, but I'm not. Jim, what's your answer?
Listen, we've been founded in 07. You know, I think our founder at one point in time really tried to sell the backup solution to end businesses. It didn't fly. And then he focused on the channel and became really successful. You know, our partner from day one on the East Coast, I'll name nameless, really pushed forward and started spreading the news about this really cool backup product. Fast forward to 2015, when I left Dell Canada working for a local MSP, I saw Rob Ray. Everyone knows who Rob Ray is in the channel, speaking at a local ASCII event, and he said, "Look, here's Datto. This is what we do. This is how we back up. This is how we provide continuity for end businesses, and to make the MSP life a lot easier and help really drive more strategic conversations to build revenue through technology for the end user." And it's like, wow, you know, hey guys, why are we not using Datto? Next thing you know, we're using Datto. We are channel only, and there's a reason for that. But at the same time, we do provide a lot of sales enablement and support our channel partners with the ability to you know, kind of sell our solutions through them and provide not the heavy lifting, because there is no heavy lifting when you use Datto. You know, there is a lot of proactive management that happens, and there's a lot of responsibility. But again, it falls along the line of mitigating as much risk as possible and keeping that light switch on. But we are channel only to this day, but work closely with our partners and even facilitate a lot of end user demos, requirements, SOC 2 audit reports with our DC. So we try to be as open as possible, but we are channel only.
And I can confirm that Datto is incredibly engaged and very supportive. So thank you for that.
We want to see you win, because ultimately the end user wins, right?
Yes, exactly. So we have only a few minutes left. I won't get to all the questions. We'll answer them afterwards.
Let's go speed round.
This is you know, good problem.
Let's go speed round. Quick.
Yes, I still don't trust sending my data to the cloud. Why would I do it?
Where else would you put it? Next question.
Well, no, let's back up. Let's back up here. And the reason
Okay.
being is I hear this actually quite a lot. I hear this a lot. It's like, do I really trust the cloud? I mean, the cloud is really servers somewhere else. How do I know whether my data is protected, right? So I do hear this.
Yeah, and look, if I'm an end user business and I'd ask that question, you know, I need somebody to really kind of push the value of that. Look, at the end of the day, is your data better protected if it's, you know, single copy on site, you know, in your business, or you're taking it at home? What if you get robbed? What if your house, you know, goes up in flames? Like, what happens? What if that, you know, external USB device, you know, is corrupted for whatever reason? So you have to trust the cloud. A lot of, you know, applications are in the cloud. Yes, you know, technology is not 100%, but at the end of the day, when you're dealing with vendors and channel partners who have proper relationships with products, with organizations that provide products and solutions, are transparent, can provide you the security reports and, you know, the confirmation of, look, this is where your data is going to be residing. You know, we're not talking about a public cloud, we're talking about a private cloud. So there's a lot more that goes on to ensure that data is protected behind the scenes, and there's a lot more security. To whereas with private cloud environments, you know, they kind of don't have to go down that road, right?
Yeah.
So you want to look, and that's one thing. It's like, look for a private cloud provider, because the risk of losing client data is huge, right? And we're not paying all this money in insurance and cyber insurance to, you know, kind of falter at the DC level. So I don't think we've ever had a client that's lost data in our cloud.
And let's keep it this way.
Yeah, and
So
99.99% uptime as well too, which is
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How has Datto kept up with or ahead of the many evolving threats on the many fronts?
Oh wow. We have a security team that does a really good job, and our CISO is phenomenal, very reputable in the industry. We are a security company, we're not a backup company at the end of the day. And this is going back, for a good 4 years when we've been talking about security and really pushing security. Going back to your first question, what is business continuity? I'll tell you what business continuity is, Dorota. It's security. It's securing your business against nation threats, hacks, states, that are trying to attack. And I mean, I'm not going to go into more, Dorota.
Okay, all right. Does our data stay in Canada? And I think you answered
it
that.
It does. Yeah, okay. It does not cross any international boundaries or lines. It doesn't go into the US and come back to our Canadian DC.
Okay. Can I really keep my data at Datto to infinity and beyond?
Absolutely. Our retention plan, when you talk about infinite retention, it truly is infinite. After a year, we will hold one copy monthly snapshot of the corporate, your end users data for infinite. And, this is the beauty of it. We offer a fixed price model. So there's no egress fees, like for instance, what you would find in maybe an Azure environment when we're talking about backup of those tenants. But it is truly infinite.
How can I tell which cloud services are being backed up and which ones aren't, and which ones can Datto back up?
So what do you mean by cloud services? Is there anything specific to that?
There wasn't any more information given, unless whoever asked that question can put it on the chat. But
yeah, put on the chat. But look, we can back up your email, so your Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace tenant. We can back up, your Azure tenant today, which is great with the Datto continuity for Microsoft Azure product. We obviously back up your corporate data in the cloud. So when we talk about beyond other cloud-to-cloud applications, there really isn't much there. We have the advanced threat protection, for email, which is great. And there'll be new things coming down the road as more cloud-to-cloud services are adopted. But
okay, and to the other portion, how can I tell if they're being backed up and which ones aren't? I mean, that is the basis of your reporting, right?
It's in with the reporting, right? So when we talk about the screenshot verification on the BCDR appliances, when we talk about email, with the SaaS protection product, that's all in the reporting. So that's all automated 3 times a day directly with Microsoft, and it really takes a lot of the management burden away from both partner and end user on that. So
good. Last question, because we're at 3:30 already. Can I back up a really important user's computers, but not everybody's?
Absolutely. We have a really neat product that's being rebranded. I think it's so undervalued. It's called Cloud Continuity for PC. Windows-based full image backup up to 1 terabyte, supporting multiple drives. But it's phenomenal, right down to the cache. If you spill coffee on your notebook, in the morning, and you have Cloud Continuity for PC installed by your local MSP, by Shing Digital, it's great. All we're doing is just virtualizing your desktop in the cloud until your new PC arrives. Once your new PC arrives, you're back up and running within minutes. So it really cuts down on that 1.5-hour deployment time, right down to 15 minutes, and you're back at it.
That's amazing.
And it's a very low cost product as well too. So
and when you say cash, solution. You don't mean cash wong, you mean cash.
No, I mean hard. This is what we want to save is cash, Okay. That's value. Okay. Yes, there you go. Slick solution by Trevor.
So guys, thank you for all the questions. I copied the remaining questions that we didn't answer. We will have Jim answer them via email. Absolutely. And I'll send it back to all of you. Thank you for peppering Jim with questions, because I like to keep him on his toes.
I'm in sales, so if there's anything outstanding, we'll get those answered from a technical perspective.
That sounds great. Again, thank you, Jim. You're always wonderful. This was very fun, a pleasure. And again, thank you very much, and hope to see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Have a lovely day. Bye. Cheers.